Hello and welcome to lesson number 2, Study English with Shelley. Somebody requested that I do a video on verb tenses. And so today we're going to be talking about verb tenses. Verb tenses can be one of the most difficult things for an ESL student to learn. So today I'm going to walk you through a fantastic presentation provided to me by elhinkle.org. And hopefully this will clear up the matter for you just a little bit. English has 16 verb tense and aspect combinations. Tense indicates time, while aspect indicates habit, regular repetition, duration, and completion within a particular time. Even though there are 16, we're going to concentrate on 10 of those today. These are the 10 which are more common and which I think you're going to need a little extra practice with. First thing that I want to talk to you about is time. When we're learning about tenses, it's important to talk about time and the fact that time can be divided into 3 areas which can be represented on a timeline. We have the present, which is now, the current moment. We have the past, that's time before the current moment, whether it was 2 seconds ago or 2 years ago. And we have the future, any time after now. Present progressive is probably the easiest tense to learn, so we're going to head and start with that one. Present progressive is talking about now. It's not talking about the past. It's not talking about the future. I'll give you an example of that. He is walking. That means right now he is walking as we speak. Another example, he is exercising. Right now, as we speak, he is exercising. Perhaps I call up my friend and maybe her husband answers. Maybe I ask, may I speak to Amy? And her husband says, I'm sorry, right now she is exercising. So that's happening right now at the current time. The form of present progressive is be plus the verb plus ing. The verb be here is because we're talking present tense. So here you have is, the verb is walk, and ing. Is exercising. Let's go ahead and move on to present simple. Present simple is talking about something that habitually happens over time. It's something that took place in the past, taking place in the present, and will take place in the future. Doesn't mean that it's happening right now. Let me give you an example. He walks to work. Does John drive to work? No, he walks to work. That's something that he does, an action that takes place time and time again. He's walked in the past, he's walking in the present, and he's walking in the future, or will walk in the future. Same thing with he exercises. That means that he exercises a lot. Wow, he sure looks muscular. Oh, that's because he exercises. He exercised in the past, in the present, and will exercise in the future. But that does not mean that he's exercising now. Maybe he's watching TV. Maybe he's sleeping. Right now, he's sleeping, but he exercised this morning, and he will exercise tomorrow. So that means he exercises. It's something that he does. The form of simple present is just the bare infinitive without to, marked for person and number, singular or plural. For example, I walk, you walk, he walks, she walks. Let's talk about past progressive tense for a moment. This is going to indicate an action in the past that is longer in duration than another action in the past. For example, in the sentence, he was walking when it started to rain. We have 2 things that happened in the past. 1, he was walking. 2, it started to rain. So we're going to look at the word when here. He was walking when it started to rain. So we can tell by this sentence the first thing that happened was he was walking. So we know that this took place longer in duration, which means longer in time, than the other action. me show you on the timeline. You can see he started walking when it started to rain. So he was walking when it started to rain. She was eating when the doorbell rang. He was sleeping when the phone rang. Past progressive also indicates an action in the past with longer duration than a specific point of time. For example, he was sleeping at 3 o'clock. She was working at 12 o'clock. You can look at the timeline there. See, he was already sleeping and still sleeping at 3. He was sleeping at 3 o'clock. The form of past progressive is past tense of be, which is was, plus the verb, plus ing, was walking. In the present progressive tense, a time, point, or another action is implied in the meaning right now. In the past progressive, however, this point of time has to be marked by means of either a prepositional phrase, like at 3, or a clause of time, like when it started to rain. So we're either going to use a prepositional phrase of time, like she was eating at 12 noon, or a clause of time, she was sleeping when the phone rang. Past simple indicates an action that took place before the current moment, but it doesn't have any real connection with the current time. For example, he walked to school. That action took place in the past, is finished, completely unrelated to the present. It's just a past action. Same thing as the raven flew to Edgar's house. Past action. Any clause or sentence that contains the word ago needs a past verb, simple or progressive. For example, the fox ran away an hour ago. So we're looking at the now time, and when we use the word ago, we know that something happened from the, so much time in the past before now. So the fox ran away when? An hour before now, an hour ago. The form of simple past is the verb plus ed. Like you see here, walk plus ed is walked. But we always have those stubborn irregular verbs that make things a little bit more confusing, like fly and the past tense of fly, flew. We are not going to say flied. He flew. The bird flew. Same with run. The past tense of run is not runned, but ran. These are what we call irregular verbs. So really no way around it except to memorize them. The future progressive tense indicates an action in the future that is longer in duration than another action in the future. For example, he will be walking when it starts to rain. These are two actions taking place in the future. Will be walking when it starts to rain. So as we can see from the timeline, he started walking and then the rain came as he was walking. So we can say he will be walking when it starts to rain because this happened after now, which is the future. He will be walking when it starts to rain. I can say I will be working when American Idol starts. The future progressive tense also indicates an action in the future that is longer in duration than a point of time. For example, he will be sleeping at 3 o'clock. I will be eating at 12 o'clock. What time are you going to go to lunch, Shelley? I'll be eating at 12 o'clock. But maybe it's 9 o'clock now. So see, that's happening in the future. I will be eating at 12 o'clock. And take a look at the timeline again. It's happening in the future, so we use the form will be, and then at a specific point in time in the future. The form of future progressive is will be plus the verb plus ing. He will be walking. She will be working. I will be eating. Let's talk about future simple. This indicates an action that will take place after the current moment, but has no real connection with the current time. So the current moment is now, so future simple is going to take place in the future, but it's not going to relate to now at all. Let's take a look at that example. He will walk home. That means that sometime in the future, after now, he will walk home. When will he walk home? I don't know, but sometime in the future, he will walk home. She will go home. He will exercise. I will eat supper later. The form of future simple is will plus the verb. Will walk, will sleep, will eat. Here's a tip for you. Never use future tense in an adverb clause of time or condition. For example, if, when, whether, before, after, even though the time indicated might be in the future. In those cases, always use simple present in the clause. Let me give you an example. He will come home when it starts to rain. We have a future simple tense here, will come. The adverb clause, when it starts to rain. You can see when it started to rain, he started to come home. I will come home when it gets dark.